Hello, everyone. Welcome to Three Essential Questions, New Mexico's business and nonprofit podcast. I am your host, Pam Myers, and my wonderful co host is the always fabulous Erica Yoakum. We are here today with Jamie. Jamie is representing the Midtown Arts Design Alliance, so also known as MATA. SFAI for short, which Erica will put on the screen. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, nice to be here.
So tell us what, and MATA stands for the Midtown Arts Design Alliance again, and tell us all about that. What's the organization mission?
Yeah, so we are an emerging organization that's really what we're doing is renovating abandoned buildings on the
Ooh.
Midtown site that used to be the College of Santa Fe and then the Santa Fe University of Art and Design to develop a community cultural center that really doesn't exist in Santa Fe that will provide affordable space and accessible programming to creative practitioners and culture bearers of all ages. So we have a collaboration of over 11 trusted local and regional organizations and cultural institutions and nonprofits. And what we're really looking to do is to participate in and grow the Northern New Mexico creative economy. And our focus is on youth, the urban indigenous population, and emerging cultural entrepreneurs.
Wow. Well, that's a whole lot of stuff. That's very cool.
It is very cool. And it's kind of surprising that it didn't exist before.
Well, I think that, we think of Santa Fe as this arts mecca,
Right.
and we are, but a lot of our arts has been tailored toward the markets and to tourism.
Right.
I was the executive director of the Santa Fe Art Institute for 9 years, and really seeing a lack of opportunity for our local artists and creative practitioners. And there's also sort of this interesting constant need, right, to connect emerging artists and young people and cultural entrepreneurs with actually being able to step in and do this work and get paid for it. There is so much talent, right? We know how much talent we have locally of all disciplines, but there's very few real pathways for people to grow that into an arts practice that they can make money from or a business. And so what we're really trying to do is make this an innovative investment in smaller arts and culture, nonprofits and enterprises that help to bring that new art, that new energy and ideas, and really focus on our local community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love what you are doing, and I would imagine it can be a challenge. I mean, to up and coming artists or new emerging creatives to find a space to work out of and to be able to collaborate with others that are on the same, not even on the same playing field, because you want to exchange all kinds of ideas, right? But to be able to just connect with each other.
Wavelength, maybe that artistic wavelength where so you have the different disciplines, but and that would be, I would think that would be so interesting to see how different modes of art would interact with others. Like, if you're working in pottery or whatever, and the person across the way from you is working in metal, your brain goes, what if we
Yeah, exactly. And that's what our partners do. And many of our partners are already sort of collaborating with one another, but we're not seeing enough of those synergies. We're not seeing enough of the walking across, to the next space. And so what's really exciting is that with our partners, we're going to be able to provide makerspace. One of our partners is Make Santa Fe, and this will double or triple what they can do.
Wow.
And so having that right next door to a place like the Santa Fe Art Institute with the artists in residence, and also a place like Vital Spaces that has a lot of studio space and gallery support for local artists, right next door to the University of New Mexico continuing education, right next door to Girls Inc. and their team programs, and also, YouthWorks, and they're going to have a youth-run cafe. So what a lot of these organizations are already doing is already amazing, but we're trying to make sure that there's a lot of connectivity so that the constituents that they serve see, and they can have those, light bulbs go on in their head because their world is being expanded just by walking down the hall or across the way.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
And
there's a place here in Albuquerque, the Sawmill Market is what it jumped to mind. It's like when you go in there and there's all these different food vendors, right? And you can tell there's always an energy there because people can look at different, there has to be cross pollination and just that buzz that is generated by having that kind of, not everybody's doing the same thing.
Right.
Everybody has a different take on what they're doing and coming at it from a different angle. But it's and it's a hugely successful venture. I can imagine. I'm imagining that in the art world and thinking that's got to be a high to walk through that place and catch that buzz of that creativity going on. It's got to be great.
And that's exactly how we've been thinking about it. In fact, one of our partners called it a beehive. We really see it as this really unique, vibrant space with something going on all the time. Yeah. And, a lot of the space is going to be for our partners to do their programming and inhabit. And at the same time, we'll have some spaces that the community can use as well in general. So there's a really awesome lecture hall that we're going to refurbish. There's going to be a community room. There's going to be a community gallery. And this is part of a much larger plan for Midtown. So we are one of the first projects that'll be going up, but it's going to be kind of this amazing new neighborhood in Santa Fe, because what was a college campus is now going to be a neighborhood with 1,000 homes. And so this will be making sure that arts and culture nexus still exists in the geographic center of town.
And I'm really enjoying. So my kid is in the architecture program at UNM, and this whole semester they have been about repurposing.
Yeah.
Like going into the rail yards or places like that and saying, what can we do with the space that's here and the things that are here, instead of building new and trying to work with that. They're saying it's already here and people know this is here. How can we make it work for the community that's around it and clean it up straight, get it vibrant again like it used to be, that kind of thing. I know nothing about Santa Fe. I didn't know there was a Midtown. Like, Santa Fe to me in my head is like this big, and it's all right there by the the hotels, because I've always approached Santa Fe like a tourist, quite honestly.
Yeah, right. Well,
So
the real story of Santa Fe, beyond the downtown, is that it's been just sort of sprawling. So I'm sure that you've driven past down Cerritos. There's a lot of development on the south side, and a lot of it is really necessary because, especially with the pandemic and the Zoom boom, Santa Fe was one of those towns that people decided if they could work remotely, why not be in a place like Santa Fe? And unfortunately, that's just meant that it's increased disparity, right? The median home price, I think right now is like, I don't know, $500,000 or median, 600,000. And so the folks that were already struggling here are struggling even more, right? And Santa Fe has this unique kind of situation in New Mexico where it's a very poor state. And then Santa Fe is seen as a more wealthy city, but there's so much disparity here. And so Midtown has kind of emerged. It is the literal geographic center of town now, because so much has gone south. And so we're really seeing this as a medium place, real central place between the downtown plaza area and the growing south side.
Very cool.
Jamie, where are you in development of the space?
We just finished our feasibility plan. So we have some great momentum going forward. We are, raising money. We have to raise a lot of money. I'm thrilled to say that we're about a third of the way through, which is really exciting given that we're still in a very quiet phase. We're going to launch a community meeting space, public fundraising campaign this summer. And we are going to get our ground lease with the city, hopefully through city council this June. And so once that's ready to go, I can sort of hit the green light, get the architects to complete construction documents for phase 1. And I really hope that, this time next year, we're starting construction for phase 1 for those renovations, which will get, it's about I would say a third of the total project square footage, but it gets 5 of our partners in. And so in my ideal world, they would all be in by the end of 2026. So really, it just depends on continuing to raise the money. I'm really thrilled because last week we found out that we are getting a little bit of money from state capital outlay. So that's a first for the project.
Nice.
And so it sort of feels like now we're on the map with the state legislators as well. And some of them, the ones who focus on Santa Fe, they are very aware of the Midtown campus and the fact that it's been really abandoned for the last 7 years. With the community really wanting something to happen here again. So that's sort of our timeline and our goals. I have a lot of balls in the air right now.
That's amazing to me that there's that much space has been sitting unused for 7 years. That's because our space is so tight in a lot of these towns. You can't build anymore in certain areas. So
it's really strange. But it was the college forever, and it just kind of cloistered itself. So there's literal fences and walls. So some people who are new to Santa Fe don't even know it's there, but it's 64 acres.
Wow.
So it's the size of downtown Santa Fe. It's huge. The project we're talking about is only 4 of those acres, so it's not the entire site. But what's exciting is that last December, the city approved the purchase of 20 of those acres for film production. And so right down the way from us, they're already starting construction to improve the Garson studios, and they're going to do like professional film production. So it's really nice that Santa Fe will have that too.
Yeah.
Finally, like we've been sort of hoping that we don't get left behind.
Right.
And so
a
lot of the partners that we're working with, like the Makerspace, like Little Globe, who teaches emerging filmmakers, we're really hoping to also connect with above and below the line internship opportunities with the film studios.
Okay, define above and below the line. What is that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a film person, but the way I understand it is that there's a lot of work for below the line workers in New Mexico, which means they're not directors, they're not writers,
got it.
Producers, they're not creative directors, but they do a lot of the technical work, they do a lot of the extras, and so there's been great work for that. But what the industry in New Mexico is trying to do is get those above the line jobs as well, which, as you can imagine, are higher paying, much more long term and sustainable. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
I know. You do have a lot of balls in the air.
we're not doing film. We're just
no, I know, but that's still there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
very cool.
Exciting. Very exciting. And so really 25 and 26 are the goal dates, and you're about a third of the way there. How can people get involved and find out more and even make donations if they can possibly do that?
There's a lot of ways to be involved. So thank you for asking. Our website is mata.sfai.org, and we are launching a newsletter starting in April, and that will continue to provide ways to get involved, but we will need to go to city council, and we continue to need support at the city and state level. So on the website, you'll find a way to write a letter of support for us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you'll also be able to sign up for the newsletter. You'll be able to give me feedback, give all of us feedback about like who isn't at the table. We have an amazing team, but we're always looking for making sure that we're filling all of the gaps. and making sure we're really meeting the need, and it'll be a
Right.
constant ongoing process with that.
Yes.
There will be ways to donate. So like I said, there's a lot of ways to be involved, and we really want that community support. I'm going to start holding monthly coffee meetups, probably the last Friday of every month, so that people can just show up. It'll be like, a mixer to get to know folks that are doing things in Midtown. And anyone interested would be, we'll make sure that gets out in the monthly newsletter about when and where. So we're just trying to create a lot of opportunities to really have people could become involved. We will have an event in June that will open up to the public so that everyone can start to see more of the vision about what we're doing. So a lot of work about getting some communications out there, but we could always use the help, which is why I'm really thrilled that you all are spending some time with me right now.
Yeah, and people love those blueprints, man. We got, we're working on a pool here in Los Lunas, and when they put the plans up on the wall, people want to walk over and like,
Yeah,
figure it all out, because then it makes it more concrete in their brain, right? If they can
right.
visualize it clearly, it makes it easier to work toward.
Right.
That's right. That's right. And we'll have a lot of plans on our website. We have a model when people show up, and we're also doing
Nice.
monthly walkthroughs of the buildings, because it's sort of remarkable to see these buildings. Many of them are very iconic. So 3 of them are what's called the Visual Arts Center, and they were designed in the 90s by a very well-known Mexico City architect, Ricardo Legarreta.
Mhm.
And they are very iconic. I mean, they are gorgeous red buildings with very vibrant colored courtyards, and amazing metal roofs with geometric structures. So they have been sitting there vacant, and one of the things is really how to steward them so that they don't continue to fall into disrepair. And then the other buildings are historic. They are the last remaining barracks of World War II military hospital that was originally on the site. And
Wow.
so it was a military hospital before it was a College of Santa Fe, and they treated survivors of the Bataan Death March. And so what we also feel like we're doing, in addition to amazing community work and programming, is making sure that these important buildings have a second life, or a third life, as it were.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, how did you choose, or how did you find the location? Imagine the idea, the concept, right? And then find the location. How did that happen?
Well, it was actually, as I said, I was the executive director at the Santa Fe Art Institute for 9 years. I just was able to step into this role full-time in January. So I was kind of pushing this along as I was running the Art Institute. And the Art Institute is one of the still operating organizations on the campus. And so we are independent, but we are on the campus. And it was one of these things where we just started having a lot of conversations about our future now that, when the campus closed, and started having conversations in the community. We participated with the city and also UNM's Design and Planning Assistance Center and 8 other nonprofits to do a citywide public engagement project where we queried residents all over town, including a lot of youth, a lot of low-income residents, a lot of Spanish speakers. And these 8 other organizations and SFAI produced a public engagement report. And that said a lot about what the community wanted to see with the entire 64 acres. But it really became a mandate for the Midtown Arts and Design Alliance as we've been developing. So 5 out of 9 of those organizations are part of the Midtown Arts and Design Alliance and planning to relocate with us. And we really have taken what we learned from that public engagement work and pulled it into how we're going to be programming.
We can hear you. Your video's a little paused, but we can hear you.
Mhm. Oh, nope. Voice went away. Maybe it'll come back.
The
Oh,
internet. It's the
yeah,
wind. I'm telling
it
you.
is. Yeah. I agree. Darn. And it was great conversation. I love what they are doing. You want
Okay. So we're back.
And Jamie, you were talking about how the Art Institute was there already, and then you started having conversations about taking it to the next level with this whole new project for MATA.
So I think I was talking about the public engagement work that we're
Yes.
doing with UNM and other nonprofits in town, and that really has become a mandate for how we're moving forward with the Midtown Arts and Design Alliance. And that it's really exciting. That work that we all did also informed the city's master plan for the whole property. And so it was very important work that I think will have a long life, because it did go out into a pretty broad swath of the community.
Awesome.
It's very
Wonderful.
cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
64 acres. That's a lot of land.
right.
So
Right.
Yeah, just imagine downtown Santa Fe and all that's there. So it's a
Right.
lot. A lot can happen. A lot will happen.
and typical college campuses have like a bajillion buildings on them. So, yeah, having to that's cool. That's
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what this is gonna finally wind up looking like. That'll be very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about 50,000 square feet that we'll be renovating. I
Wow.
think the entire campus, there's like 500,000 square feet.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. Very cool.
Well, thank you for spearheading the project, for being part of the whole concept and making it happen. It's really wonderful to see this come to Santa Fe.
Thank you. I
Definitely.
appreciate the time today.
Yeah. And if you'd like to know more, you can go to the website that's listed on the screen. If you don't see the screen and you're listening on a podcast channel, it is mada.sfai.org. And they would love your support. So thanks everybody for listening to this podcast. We really appreciate your support.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.